Welcome to the Inspired by Jacqueline podcast, a refreshing place for women struggling with entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. Stay tuned for today's episode. Hey everyone, thank you again for joining Inspired by Jacqueline podcasts. Wow, it is 2025 and I'm really excited of so many different things. I have such a beautiful and amazing person here with me, and let me just share a little glimpse on her and then we're going to jump into such an amazing conversation. Sandra Bridges is an accomplished entrepreneur and the founder of Bridges Cinema, a distinguished luxury weddings and events cinematography company. Her journey into the world of cinematography was influenced by her early experiences working in her father's photography business as a young girl. These formative years played a crucial role in shaping her creative eye and business expertise. With over 15 years in the industry, Bridges Cinema has garnered a reputation for excellence and has had the honor of filming weddings and corporate events for celebrities, athletes, and socialites. Sandra's passion for storytelling has taken her across the United States and around the world, filming weddings and events in various destinations, including Italy, France, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Her work showcases the beauty of different cultures and traditions. Here's another fun fact about Sandra. She was born and raised in Panama. She's fluent in Spanish, so if you didn't know, now you know, adding another layer of cultural richness to her work. As a mother of five, she balances her successful career with the demands of a large family. And I want to welcome her, but I need to share a funny story because I'm all about transparency. And this is our second take because I forgot to press record. So there you go. And that starts an amazing conversation. Welcome, Sandra. And thank you for being very patient with me because I'm like, wait a minute. So welcome again.
That's okay. We at least you caught it on time.
Mhm.
Happy New
Okay.
Year. Thank you again
Yes.
for inviting me to your podcast. I'm
Mhm.
thrilled and excited and honored to be the first one for 2025 and excited to tell you a little bit more about myself, my story, my journey in being an entrepreneur.
So before we start on just having this amazing conversation, give us a day in the life of Sandra in her mornings.
Okay. Well, typically, I'd like to start my day with some clarity of the mind. So for me is exercise. So you'll either find me on the pickleball courts or
Ooh.
you'll find me at the hot yoga studio. So either one. Pickleball is such an amazing activity for myself. Not only the physical aspect of it, but the social aspect of pickleball. If you haven't tried it, highly recommend it.
I have to try that.
You definitely do. And we live in Florida right now, so we can play pickleball 365 days out of the year.
Nice.
And then with the yoga, I found it to be also give me some healing aspects to my body as, part of my business is to film an event where I can be 8 to 10 hours on my feet. And so it could be pretty grueling on my body. So
Mhm.
yoga has given me the ability to give me some stretching and some healing components as well as clarity of the mind because for that 1 hour I'm not thinking about anything else of my yoga program.
Are you a coffee or tea person?
Actually,
Or neither?
water. Water.
Water?
I
I
am
was like, or
water.
neither, because that took a
Yeah.
long time to
If
answer.
I
So
if I
I was like,
do drink, it would be tea. I
okay.
do drink occasionally. I do drink tea, but I found that for myself, I'm trying to heal my body. Water is
Mm.
my drink of choice now.
Got it. So you mentioned how your job, it requires a lot and it puts a lot on your body, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And I'm glad you share that because that's something important that people who are coming into the industry, it's not just your role, it's everybody pretty much in the industry. The
Right.
day of that you're working, it's so intense on your body, on your physical body, your mind. And it's important to find activities to kind
Yeah.
of get your body acclimated with the different pieces that you do, right? The different
Yeah.
parts of your life, whether
Yeah.
it's like one day really intense or a couple of days back to back. That has been, I mean, I've been through that piece and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And it's the energy that God gives me that
Yeah.
gets me up and everything like that. But it's finding ways on how to activate your body and your mind to
Right.
prepare, right? Because at the end
Exactly.
of the day, you could just drop. I've been there, done that.
Mhm,
Drop
mhm.
at the end of that day, hoping
Right.
that there's not anything afterwards. And it's
Right.
like, oh my gosh.
Yes. You just want to lay on the bed.
And then with regards to entrepreneurship, have you always been an entrepreneur? Have you ventured into the corporate world at any time?
Yes, I think entrepreneur was running in my blood since very young. With my dad's business back in Panama, the oldest, so I was always alongside of him, working in the studio, working with clients. Back in the day where photography was a lab, you had your,
Mm.
the dark room and you had
Yeah.
to like develop the pictures. That's what he had. So my job was to prepare the pictures, cut the pictures, get him ready when the client came to pick them up, write a receipt, all that, handling the money. And to me, that's probably where I picked up that entrepreneur part of myself. So I was actually a teacher and in the field of education for a few years. And then after maybe 3 years, I decided to own a learning center. So I also was running a learning center. I was teaching at the community college level. I was teaching Spanish to police officers and nurse
Wow.
people in the health profession so they would be able to communicate with their clients because
Mhm.
this was back in North Carolina where there's a large population of migrant workers there and they're not bilingual. So there was a need for the organizations that are providing services to communicate with those individuals. So I found that need. And so I decided to launch my services, my company. And then I moved from North Carolina to DC. And from
Mhm.
DC, I moved to Florida. And when I came to Florida, that's when I went into owning my learning center. And
Mhm.
we adopted 3 children. And then I was like, oh, my hands are full. I better just concentrate on the kids for a while. And after they were home with us for maybe 2 or 3 years, then I launched Bridges Cinema.
Mhm.
And then we're here after 15
Wow.
years.
That is amazing. And so, one of the things that I love that you also share is being a mother of five. And you mentioned that you adopted 3 kids. You mentioned in your bio, which I love, is that you're balancing between your career and the demand of a large family. So, can you share a little bit about you adopted the kids before you started the business? So now you have these 3 children that you adopted, plus your other two. And then you decided to open up a business.
Right,
Opening up a business in itself is crazy. It's
right,
like all these different pieces to it. So
right.
how did you find a balance and how was that structure in bringing in a new family? How did that work all together?
I think the key to everything that I've done over the years of any of the businesses that I have has been teamwork. And my team is my family. So whether it was my mom helping along when I wasn't able to be with the kids and she would pick them up from school or she babysit or stay with them while I had to cover for a job. It was always teamwork. And as the kids got older and were able to just help along the way. Everybody was part of the team. So everyone, all the kids have had their hands into Bridges Cinema, whether
Mm,
it was writing a blog on an article, whether it was charging batteries, whether it was setting up equipment, they have all of them had had a role in the company. They are now, most of them have moved on,
mhm.
but they still come back. They still come when I call them. Just recently, one of them helped me launch and design my website.
Mhm.
So when you have a chance, please
I'm
check
gonna
it
take a look.
out. Check it out. And of course, my oldest one is working primarily for us. And
Mhm.
for us, meaning my husband is also part of my company, and
Mhm.
he's been my business partner for all these years as well. And we work together, again, finding a balance with all of us, all our skills
Mhm.
into the business.
Wow. And how long have you been married?
About 32 years.
Wow. How did you meet? Where did you meet?
We met in college, and his other passion and his basically his main profession is a musician.
Mm.
So when I was in college, I was the president of an organization. And so I hired him to perform at one of our events. And that's how we connect.
Were there any challenges?
There's going to be just family challenges, of course, trying to balance like taking them to school, being present at different events. That's always a challenge. And again, I
Mhm.
think that the support from my family being there and helping us. We know that Latinos, we really are about family. So
Mhm.
I really honestly couldn't have done it without my mom being there. It really takes that burden. You don't worry about what the kids are
Mhm.
doing because they're with our parents. So that has been instrumental in the growth of the company as well.
And what made you decide to adopt?
My mom's side of the family, they're 15, and
Mhm.
my dad's side of the family are 7. So I
Mhm.
always grew around a lot of cousins, and whenever we have family get-togethers, it was a lot of cousins and a lot just extended family. We didn't need to invite anybody else because our family was large enough. And so after having the two of our own, I felt like, oh, I kind of want to have a larger family. So we tried to have on our own again more kids, but it just didn't work.
Mhm.
So we started to consider adoption. And when we consider adoption, we consider foster care. So we went through
Mhm.
everything that we needed to do in Florida as far as becoming. We actually didn't want to become foster parents
Mhm.
because we didn't want that attachment. And then somebody, come and say, okay, you can't adopt them. They're not.
Yeah.
So when we adopted the kids, they were already available for
Mhm.
adoption. Their parents had, I forget the term, where the state basically was the one that was responsible for them.
Got it.
So then they were eligible. So when they came into our home, they were foster children, but they were eligible for adoption. And
Mhm.
at that time, when they came, the oldest one was 7, then 6, and 4. And it's been a challenging journey,
Mhm.
but something that has been really, really rewarding to where we are now. Maybe one day I need to write the story, my
Yeah, that
book,
would
my
be, I mean,
journey.
you have an amazing
Sure.
story. And being an entrepreneur is not easy, right? It's like it's not for the faint of heart, right? All these hours and time that we have to put. So great that you had the support that you had. But like, can you share some challenges that you have faced along the way being an entrepreneur that maybe made you reconsider if this is something you want to continue?
Yeah, I think that not it's not unique to my company or my business. is sometimes, as you've been around for such a long time, you have to learn how to recognize what's happening around you. And technology is happening fast.
Mhm.
So recognizing, how do I adapt? How do I change? How do I rebrand? How do I reposition my company, my business to appeal to the younger audience? What's the best tool? What's the best way to showcase my work? TikTok has just happened. I would say in the less than 15 years that I've been around, so that I had to learn a new platform, learning about reels. All these things are always an ever growing change. So I think as an entrepreneur, you have to adapt to, or want to always be learning how to adapt your business and strategies to fit what's happening. I think it's also important to be resilient. We are going to have good times and bad times, just like in anything in life. And so, not to take things too personal, I think that ultimately we have to remember what, to me, and I can only speak for myself, what are the most important things to you? To me, my family is my number
Mhm.
one thing. So I surrounded myself with my family. They are part of my company. That way I don't have to worry, oh, I can't spend time with my husband because he's with me. Where are my kids? They're with me.
Mhm.
So the strategies that I put in place was to fit my philosophy and the way that I like to do my business. And so I think, to me, those are like, being adapt to change, to always be learning, surrounding yourself. If you don't have the skill to figure out TikTok, get somebody that's going to help you with TikTok. What is trending? What are the different um, things that are, trending in TikTok? Or how do you, for us, again, because we're in video, how do you format the video so that it fits into a reel?
Mhm.
All those things are changes that are happening. So economy changes, trends change. So people come in and out of our industry. You know this. They may be, probably a hotelier could be in this hotel this year, and next year they're in another location.
Yes, yes. And
So
the support of the industry and the connections. Like you said, the knowing that, oh, that hotel person, oh, they're here now. It's like,
right,
but
right,
then when you build that connection, how important is that networking and connections and building a long-term connection? Because
yeah.
that's kind of how we met, right? We met through a colleague that we both know. He's been in the industry a long time, Mark. A huge shout out to Mark.
Mhm.
And I had a conversation with him. I mentioned that I might be doing an event in Miami. He's like, "Oh, you need to meet this amazing person. Their cinematography is amazing. You're gonna love them." And we connected briefly before COVID, and then COVID happened, and we then reconnected organically. You reached out, and wow, it's such an honor, amazing knowing you. So it's a beautiful thing to create, not just a one-time relationship. Yes, you're going to
Right,
know certain people for a
right,
short period of time, and that's fine, and being fine with that. But nurturing relationships with people you align with is so
right,
beautiful. So
right,
share to me what that means to you, like collaborations and building
right.
relationships.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I make sure to stress with my son, who is also in the industry with me and in the business with me, is that connections take time and take nurturing. You have to nurture a relationship. Our someone's in anyone's initial contact at a networking event is just introducing yourself, learning about their company. Perhaps you get to know a little bit about how long they've been in the business, and probably that's about it. Then, as you continue to grow that relationship, depending on how you met them, you may be able to meet them again, or you may be able to stay in touch through the great thing about social media. You can connect
Mhm.
via social media. but there is a deeper level sometimes of getting to know each other. And that comes from making making that connection and realizing, wow, that that person really aligns with who I am, really
Mhm.
aligns with what I believe, really aligns with what I where I want to be. And so,
Mhm.
like saying that and then saying, I think I'm gonna explore more about, that relationship. And so I think that, once I got to know you, Jacqueline, I also
Mhm.
met a whole bunch of sisters that I love and I so much admire. And so it was from how many years for that to take place? It
Yeah.
probably took like what, 4 years?
Yes.
So for us to come now and not only connected more of a deeper level with you,
Mhm.
but with a whole group of sisters that I feel their support, encouragement, and not only that, but I can learn from them so much that I don't know about that I can learn from them. It's like it really truly is a small world because
Mhm.
we're not physically in the same space and it took so long for us to connect, but here we are.
It seems like we
And
know each other forever.
yeah, and I'm excited to know to see what 2025 is going to be like
Mhm.
and how our relationship will continue to grow.
Yeah.
And we also have to recognize not everybody is going to align with us. And I think that we can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
We have to be
And
true to ourselves.
yeah, 100%.
So if anyone comes with a true heart and saying they want
Mhm.
to learn, I'm okay about it. I am an open book. And if I can share my knowledge, I'm happy to do that.
What does life after 50 look like? And was there a moment in time that you felt you needed to redefine your career and your goals?
You slightly have to change a little bit of your goals because now you're thinking about your legacy and you're thinking about what you're going to leave as your marking time. So now I'm primarily focused on the next generation, whether it's my family or those people that I come in contact with, and just sharing my knowledge, encouraging them because in every industry there's ups and downs as you know it. So it's always nice to hear from someone that what it takes to have longevity in this field. And so I that's what I see like redefining like my purpose now. As far as goal, I'm probably more as far as more intentional on my contacts with people and how I wish to spend my time, whether it's through specific networking events that I feel like are going to be more productive. When you're first starting out as a
You're like everywhere.
yeah, you're like, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? And right, right. So you're more intentional about what your context because your time is a little bit more limited also as well. I mean, your time is limited anyway, but I feel like that's has been like my focus now as I'm older and just the way that I'm thinking. Also, I'm thinking about also about taking care of myself more, my mind, body, and spirit as well because if I'm well mentally, physically, and spiritually, then I can go a lot farther in my career and in my life. So I'm just more attentive to doing that because I have a little bit more time now. My kids are older, so I'm not like jetting off to go pick them up from school and going to this activity and then trying to film this wedding. So I have a little bit more time. So I can be a little bit more selfish and spend a little bit more time on myself now.
Yeah, and I was just talking to someone about this, and I usually talk about your priorities at a certain time in your life was different than what it is now. So now you're
Yeah.
kind of like reassessing everything to see, okay, you're still looking at the time investment,
Mm-hmm.
whereas now it's not so much. giving that time investment to your children, now it's like, okay, now it's me time. So
Yes.
how do I invest in the right networking events or activities that kind of define who I am now, right? And that I'm able to make sure that I'm not just all over, right? And really
Right,
honing in on what's important, what's
right,
priority, so
exactly.
that you're able to nurture the relationships that you are creating.
Yeah, and for that reason, things are like, I feel like more enjoyable. You find a
Mm,
different kind of
hmm.
joy now when you don't have to prove things to anyone. I've always tried to be authentic to myself, but it's not like just trying to just, I don't know, it's a different kind of feeling as I'm getting older, and how I really try to find the joy in just every contact that I have and everywhere things that I'm doing currently. So it
Yeah.
becomes more, that first of all, when I was younger, my passion was my family, my kids.
Yes.
That was my passion. So I really
Hmm.
pour myself into them and everything that we were doing. And now I'm pouring myself into my other passions, whether it's through Inspírame Latina or it's through networking with young entrepreneurs in our field. So I'm finding other passions that I had, but I couldn't devote myself to it now as before.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how it evolves. Like I have found myself in the transition that I went from being super busy, right?
Mhm,
And super every single location I could be in, right? For networking and meeting people.
mhm,
And to now picking and choosing the right ones that have the time investment that I'm okay with, right?
mhm,
That if I go drive an hour to go someplace, to be there for an hour or 2 hours, to then
mhm.
drive another hours, that's a total of 4 hours. So when you look
Right.
at it, you're looking at things from a different perspective. Oh, that's an hour event. Okay, how long did it take you to get ready? How long
Mhm.
did it that's a whole almost 4 to 5
Right,
hours
right,
versus
right.
1 hour. So looking at things from a different perspective, and I actually started counting the hours. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I was like burnt out after a
Mhm.
certain number of years doing it year after year, time after time. And I'm like, no wonder I felt so tired and exhausted. I'm like, wow. And everybody was like, oh, you're everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm okay. But
You're
then I was
you're
like,
you're hustling. You have to hustle
you
before
have to
when everybody's
hustle,
running.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but thank you for sharing that because it's so true now,
Mhm.
really defining and understanding why
Mhm.
I'm going, the intent. So that was the in between transition that I was like, oh, wait, this is not working out for me. This is
Mhm.
not where I should be.
Yeah. Right.
So already my whole body, my system, my soul was just telling me,
Yeah. Right.
you
Right.
need intention. You need to
Yeah.
make sure that wherever you're going, it's intentional. It aligns with your purpose, with where you're going, with where
Mhm.
you're at. And that brings you more happiness, right? At
Exactly.
the end of the day, and more time to just breathe and enjoy
Exactly.
life. What does a community of building support look like in your world?
Mhm. Well, I shared some about it earlier in our conversation where community, you have to surround yourself with people that are going the same way you're going. Sometimes, I feel like now that's what I learned in my 50s. We can't change anyone else. So
Mhm.
if someone is really excited to be working with you, it just makes it a lot easier. And community has to be those people that are adding into your life, not subtracting from your life.
Mhm.
So whether it's family members or people that you work with, or even vendors and planners. I found throughout my years in the industry, there are planners that we're just not in sync with each other. And it just makes the experience not enjoyable. So knowing that is important so that you don't have to force it. You don't have to force that relationship because it really is not a good match. So just aligning yourself with a community that is in the same wavelength as you are. And you know who they are because you feel it right away. You
Oh,
feel
yes.
those people. You It's palpable. So I think that's recognizing that, and then it just makes everything more pleasant to be
Mhm.
around. Work is something that could be, I think that you can burn out, like you mentioned before, you can burn out by different reasons. But one reason is if you're like fighting against people in situations that don't
That
need to
drains
align with you.
energy.
Yeah, it drains your
Yeah, that
energy.
drains.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
burns you out. So something that started as a really pleasant experience and you pursued something because you really enjoy it can turn into something that you don't want to go back to
Mhm.
doing because whether it's the long hours, whether the people that you're working with, not feeling validated, all those reasons can bring that drive that took you there on the first place, turn it away from it. So community is, your support system. So like in my case, I have my family, my mom who supported me while I was trying to work and taking care of family. So that's type of community. I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Yes. And so I do have a question because I know in our conversations you mentioned your father was a photographer and
Mhm.
your family was supportive and all of that. You grew up in
Mhm.
that studio learning how to do all the different
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
And so I'm sure that you've hit different times that it's like, oh my gosh, this is just too much. But what would you recommend with your experience to other people who might be working with family who are just like miserable? Or because I'm sure people tell me, oh, you
Yes.
work with your husband?
Your
I'm like,
husband, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like you have to find a balance. That's just my
yes,
thing. But what
yes.
would you say in your piece? Because you've done it longer than I have, so I would love your input.
Well, I think that one, don't take anything personal.
Mhm.
Okay. So even I tell this to my daughter, who is a brand new teacher. I said, kids are going to be mean. Don't take it personal because they're just very young and immature to know the right way to handle situations. They don't have that ability to do that. So they may say things that are not the way that an adult will have a discussion with somebody that they disagree with, but they currently don't have the maturity to know how to deal with people. So it is our job as adults to respond in an appropriate way so that they are learning the skills to do so. So I would say for my experience of working with family members, I work with a lot of family members, some that worked, some that didn't work, just because of my style of running my business. So there's some that I try that they're just not ready for Bridges Cinema. And it was okay. They're still my relative, my family, but I'm not able to work with. As far as like working with my husband, we do work together, we play pickleball together. So we do some things together, but it's important to know that you also have to have your own space and that's okay. And we have disagreements with maybe how certain aspect of the business or something could be handled. We just have to respect each other's differences. Ultimately, I am leading Bridges Cinema
Mhm.
and he leads Will Bridges Entertainment, which is the music aspect.
Got it.
So he's the
Got it.
ultimate person that makes his decisions in his business. And if we don't agree on something, we'll research it, we'll talk about it, and either we decide to do it or not do it. But I also something that if we don't agree on something that we started to do is like we just sleep on it and say, okay, we'll think about it another day rather than deciding on the moment whether we're going to go
Right.
proceed with something or not, whether it's to buy a piece of equipment or trying out something different for the business. That's how we handle it. But it's
Right.
okay if we're gonna have differences. We have to respect each other's opinion. We're not gonna agree on everything all the time and to have our own space.
Yeah. So, and I mean, from everything you shared, I really can relate because that's
Mm-hmm.
something that is also with me. So I heard you say kind of like branding. Whoever's working with you, they have to understand your brand, right? And they
Yeah.
have to comply with what comes with that brand, from communicating, from work ethics, and quite a few things, because the brand is the brand, and that's what you have to move
Right.
ahead with. Everything else is workable
Yeah.
if they're able to put their
Yes.
part and put
Exactly.
their ego down. And for me, working with my husband, the business is mine,
Hmm.
but what I love about it is that he's able to see the perspective from the business, the overview of it.
Hmm.
And he is my sounding board, that if I'm not looking at something because I'm so focused on it, like
Hmm.
he's my person that he looks from the outside in. And he's so protective of the company. We either feel the same thing
Hmm.
sometimes when it's not right. And sometimes I'll miss something and he'll be like, I think we need to reconsider this. And I'm like, okay, let me look at it.
Hmm.
And then the second time if it happens, it's like, you know what? You were right.
Hmm.
Let's take care of this. So
Yeah.
he's been my sounding board. So
Hmm.
that has been an amazing thing. And I think I have mentioned that also, if I'm not able to communicate, like you said earlier, sometimes you don't align with every single professional that you come across, that he's that person that if, and it hasn't happened all the time, probably like twice or three times, where I had to step to the side and let him handle the communication, because
Mm.
it had nothing to do with me. It had to
Yeah.
do the fact, either because I was a woman or because
Hmm.
whatever was in that person's mind at the time.
Hmm.
But we have to move on, because at the end of the day, it's not about us, it's about the client. So we
Right.
have to work on how to connect and how to move forward in a way that we can align for the moment and make it
Hmm.
happen, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I feel that there's more education needed on that,
Hmm.
more kumbaya moments for that, because for me, it's not just about going to an event and having a party or a celebration all the time. It's also about finding those moments that we can connect with people that we may not align with. And that might be a moment that we can understand each other better. I
Yes.
think that COVID kind of brought that into perspective a little bit,
Yes.
where
Yes.
everybody was feeling the same thing, right?
Yes.
They were like, oh my gosh, we're closed. How do we make money? How does this? And they were jumping on so many different platforms to connect.
Hmm.
And now it's getting back to, I do this my way or no way. And I think for the most part, a lot of people kept it, but there's a percentage that has still gone back to, okay,
Hmm.
I'm on my own, and I feel that there's more education on that needed. So if I were to ask you, what one superpower would you like to have, what would that be?
Stop time.
That's like a going
Stop
favorite.
time. Stop it. Yes. Just because there's just not enough time to do everything you want to do, and you just want a little bit more time to do this, to the other. It's like, that's the only way. That's the only superpower that I probably would want. Yeah. How about you?
Mm. For me, it changes all the time.
Hmm.
I think it's based on what I'm feeling. Today, I would say my superpower that I would like would be stopping time, because I spent 2 weeks with my husband over the holiday, and it was just like so amazing.
Hmm.
And those times are so short
Hmm.
that even though we're around each other all the time, we schedule in our time. But
Hmm.
those 2 weeks were like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like this is great. And so I get
Yeah.
spoiled. So yeah, I get time, because then of course he spoils me even more. And time to travel a bit more
Hmm.
and spend more quality time.
Yeah. I was also going to go mention about community and what, just going back to what I mentioned is, which has become very important to me, is the Inspírame Latina community.
Mm.
Just because you coming from or being up north, I think I shared with you, I went to high school in New York City, so in Queens. And so what I found is that as I've moved to different states, I've lived in Washington, D.C., I lived in Virginia, I was in the military, and New York, and then down here in Florida. I've been in different cities, but what I found is that I didn't feel like I had a tribe rooting for me or like a tribe that I belonged to. And it wasn't until I met Inspírame Latina and I connected with the group that I felt like this is my tribe. I found like I needed that because again, when your kids are young, you just don't have the time. Your tribe is your
Your
kids'
family,
tribe.
your
Yeah, no,
nucleus.
or your kids'
Yes.
tribe, whoever
Oh,
they hang
yes.
around with, not
Yes.
necessarily your tribe. So because you kind of come in second as a mom, you're like
Mm,
putting yourself after everybody else's needs are taken care of. But now I won that tribe, I won that support, and I found it with Inspírame Latina,
mm,
where I feel like, finally I have a group that I feel like I want to be part of, I want to grow with, and I want to take it to the next level of connecting with with women that are part of this group and learn so much from them and share time with them. So I wanted to just also share a little bit about that as well.
and it's for me, it's been the same thing. Even though I didn't have that tribe with kids or anything like that, it's for me it was about the tribe within the industry, right? Because you form those which have been very amazing. But as you grow, there's like, okay, I'm here, okay, but I want to experience other things. So for me, it has been that I've stepped out, still stayed within the industry, but also stepped out locally and, in Inspírame Latina and just connecting with other communities
Mhm,
has been really, really an amazing experience as well. But
mhm,
Inspírame Latina, when I connected, oh my gosh. I mean, Judy, who's the president
mhm,
of Inspírame, and when I connected with her, it was like instant. And she says, "Hey, what about Inspírame Latina? Let's create something." And
mhm.
four of us were together, and all of a sudden, it's like we're here a year later, and
I
it's
can't even
been,
believe it's like a year. It seems like you
oh
guys
my
been like
gosh.
for longer than that.
Literally from the moment, and that's one experience that I shared with her. And before I met Judy, so I got an email, and I was new at the time to still, I would say new because COVID, I wasn't able to explore. I moved to a different location in New York. I wasn't able to explore it that much. COVID happened. And then after that, I started to explore.
Mhm,
And so I saw an email pop up, and it was for a Latina thing. And I was like, okay, this is like 10 minutes away from me. Oh my gosh,
mhm,
looks
mhm.
so exciting. But I'm putting in my head already, oh, this is Latinas. I hope it's not bochinche. I hope it's not gossip and all this stuff or clicks and so I was already like just downgrading the whole thing. I went there. I met amazing people, an amazing experience. They went overtime on their summit. It was such an amazing experience. That's how I connected with Judy. And it's
Oh,
just,
she was there at the
she
group.
was the one leading it. So that's
Um,
how we connected. She talked about a book, and I was like the first hand going up. I want to be a part of it. And from being in a book together to
yeah.
now being co-founders of an organization, and I
Mhm.
could see where it's going, and it's a beautiful thing. What are two or three takeaways that you would like to share with the listeners?
In whatever field you decide, be authentic and have a good tribe, good community to support you in your endeavors. And I think you'll go further and happier along the way.
Yes, I so agree to that. So I am so excited that you were here. I will share all of your contact information in the show notes. And how can people contact you?
My website is www.bridges, Bridges, cinema, cinema.com. Bridges,
And I looked it up as we're
yes.
talking, and let me tell
Thank
you,
you.
oh my gosh, it's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
It's just beautiful. I felt like I was in a movie,
Thank
like I
you.
was
Thank
gonna
you
go
so much.
into it.
And
So
my handle is the same for my Instagram. on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn. So all my handles are the same, Bridges Cinema.
Awesome. Well, thank
Thank
you
you
so much
so
for
much.
joining. And for everyone, make sure you take your notes, make sure to share this because it's such an impactful conversation that we had. And stay tuned for more of Inspired by Jacqueline. Take care.